Today we'll talk a little bit about structures and the relationship of structures to communication. Structures are systems of organizing that determine access to resources. So when you think about education, for example, schools are structures, universities are structures. The ways in which these structures then are organized determine who is going to be included within these structures, as well as who is going to be excluded from these structures, who is going to participate within these structures and who is not going to participate within these structures. Universities, for instance, as structures, have institutional rules, roles, procedures, and processes that determine the organizational functioning of the university. These functions then also determine the kinds of actors that are going to participate in the university processes and the kinds of actors that are going to be excluded from these processes. So if you think about the role of universities within the structures of contemporary global organizing, you realize that universities are sites where knowledge is produced, supposedly, and where knowledge is disseminated. So structures also then have functions, meaning the ways in which these structures are organized relate to specific functions that are performed by these structures. In this example of the university then serves the function of producing, creating, distributing, disseminating knowledge. Now, what is the role of communication in relationship to structures? Let's go back to the university example. The university carries out its organizing processes through communication. In other words, communication constitutes organization, and in that sense, communication constitutes structures. It is through a variety of communicative processes that we establish rules, that we establish roles, that we establish objectives. And these rules, roles, objectives become fundamental to defining the kinds of structures we inhabit. In addition, structures also then constitute the realm of communication, meaning the fact that we sit within the university structure also then determines and shapes the kinds of roles we perform, the kinds of roles that are assigned to us, and the ways in which we communicate within these roles. So the relationship between communication and structures is a cyclical relationship. On one hand, communication constitutes these structures that we live within, but on the other hand, structures constitute the kinds of communication we participate in. So this process is an ongoing flow. What this also then reminds us is that the symbolic, the realm of the symbolic, which is where communication lies, is intrinsically connected with the realm of the material, which is where we typically think of when we consider structures. The material on one hand determines the kinds of symbols we produce and circulate, and these symbols on the other hand determine the kinds of materialities that we have access to. So when we think about social change within this dynamic of the symbolic and the material, we need to constantly think about this flow, this going back and forth between structures and communication, and how then through communication can we work both within as well as against or outside these structures in order to be able to transform them. Thank you.